Hello, hello. So today we are going to discuss something which can significantly impact or improve the quality of our life. Quality of life is a super important thing. I believe all of us, we want our life to be as good as possible, right? We have big dreams. We want to be happy in life, which is logical. It makes sense. Everybody wants that. No one wants their life to be bad, right? So there is something which can directly impact the quality of our life and the things that we achieve in life. And I'm talking about taking a responsibility for your life. Let me explain why I think it is so important. In this video, we'll briefly discuss why people tend to avoid responsibility, why your life is under your control and why it is good, and also we'll discuss why it is important to ask right people for advice. So if you have someone who you really trust, it can be your friend, it can be your mother or your colleague or your boss or your pastor or any other sort of a leader or a mentor, you have a temptation to ask all advices from the same person. But it doesn't work like that, because that person is not able to have all the experience you need, in everything, in all spheres, in medicines, in cars, in houses, in finances, in marriage, in all other spheres. It's just not possible. So we should avoid this temptation, and we should really be careful which people we ask for advice. These people need to have experience in this particular field. After careful consideration, I would like to add that of course, I didn't mean that you cannot seek advice from your wife about everything. Your wife absolutely has all the necessary wisdom and knowledge, and if you need some advice, of course, go to your wife and ask about it, and she will be able to help you to make the right decision. Okay, the first thing I want to share with you is why do people tend to avoid responsibility for their life? My personal observation is that many people often try to avoid taking a responsibility, which is very human. I'm not saying it to judge anyone, because me including, I also do it sometimes. This is very visible when you observe what people do when they need to make a decision, especially a serious decision in their life. Many people want to give this responsibility to someone else. Please, someone tell me what should I do. Tell me what to do to be happy, to reach success, etc. Some people go to astrologists, some people go to fortune tellers, some people go to ChatGPT because we are in the 21st century. Of course, it makes sense to go to ChatGPT for advice. For some people, it can be their pastor. I, as a Christian believer, saw it many times in my life. When people need to make a decision, they want someone else to tell them what to do. It's easier, and you always have someone else to blame if something goes wrong, right? Because if something goes wrong, it's not your fault. You have someone else to blame. It was ChatGPT who told you which decision to make, or it was your neighbor, or it was your friend, or it was your boss, or it was your pastor. Someone else told you what to do. And that's what we humans often do. We give this responsibility to someone else because we don't want to take this responsibility ourselves. It's very human, part of a human nature to do so. However, if you want to have a quality of life, good quality of life, if you want to live a happy life, fulfilled life, it's very important that you take the responsibility for your life. The second thing I want to tell you today is that your life is fully under your control, and this is good. I grew up in a country where people tend to blame government for everything. If I don't have a salary, if I don't have a good pension, if I don't have a good medicine, or if something else is not working for me, I cannot start my own business, it's because of the government. It's government is to blame, it's their decisions, it's their problems, and this is why I am not happy. This is why my life sucks. This is why my life is not as good as I wanted it to be. However, I noticed, first of all, it happens not only in that country which I'm from, but it also happens with people in other countries, in different countries. People tend to blame someone else for their problems. Sometimes it's government, sometimes it's their neighbors who ruin their life. Okay, if your neighbor is ruining your life, if your neighbor is creating problems for you, just change the place where you live, move somewhere else. It's under your control. You can make this decision. If it bothers you so much, Just make a decision, move on, do something about it. Your life is under your control, because it's very important for the quality of life to understand that, because if your life is not under your control, it means you have a problem, because you cannot do much about this. Someone else will decide for you, and you are just a victim of what's happening. Not the best position in life, to be honest, because if you are not in charge, if you are not in the if your life is not under your control, it means you cannot change anything. You do not have power, you do not have authority. On one hand, you always have someone to blame if something goes wrong, which is very comfortable, right? But on the other hand, if you have such a position, you will not be able to make decisions which will change your life for the better, because you are in a victim position. You are not in charge of your life. It's always someone else who makes decisions for you, because you avoid responsibility. You don't want to be responsible for the outcomes. You want someone else to be responsible for the outcomes of your life. Maybe you don't believe in yourself. Maybe you don't believe that you will actually succeed, that maybe something will change for the best. And you take this comfortable position because you expect bad things to happen to your life in advance. Those things didn't happen to you yet, but you expect them to happen, and that's why you don't want to be responsible. If something goes wrong, it's not your fault, it's someone else. This position is comfortable, but it will not help us to reach the real quality of life. It will not help us to improve our life for the better. On the other hand, if you are in charge of your life, it means you can make decisions which will change your life forever. You are in charge. You can do whatever you wish. You are responsible for starting a business. You are responsible for your marriage. You are responsible for your job, for your career, for the money you are making. You are responsible for your health. It's not government. It's not medicine. It's not bad food which you can find on the supermarket. You are responsible for your health. And if you are in charge, it means you can make decisions which will change your life for the better, which is very, very good. It impacts your quality of life directly. And the third thing I want to share with you today is why it is so important to ask right people for advice, and what does it mean to ask for advice. As I already described, many people don't want to make serious decisions. They want someone else to make a decision for them. And it's very comfortable. Some people go to astrologists, some people go to ChatGPT asking for advice, ChatGPT, tell me which decision should I make to be happy. But the issue is that astrologists or ChatGPT or pastors should never make decisions for you. They can obviously help you to make a decision, but it's always up to you to be responsible and to be in charge of your life, to make a final decision. So if I need to make a serious decision and I need some advice, which is absolutely reasonable, it's great to ask for advice, but it's important to ask right people. So when you go to someone asking for advice, it's very important to choose the right person. Why? Because when we need to make a serious decision, for example, about finances, should I buy a house or should I not buy a house? Should I take this loan or should I not take this loan? Should I buy a car or not? Those are serious financial decisions, and it's important that the person we are asking advice from is capable and experienced to give us such advice. For example, I want to make a decision about buying a house and I don't know what to do. As a Christian, I go to my pastor and ask for advice. But the problem is that my pastor is not trained to give financial advices, right? He's trained to be a pastor. He knows the Bible. He knows how to interpret the Bible. He can tell me what the Bible teaches about finances. He can teach me, he can help me to understand biblical principles for life, for marriage, for finances, for other spheres of my life. But when it comes to the final decision, my pastor is not entitled to give me the final advice or the final decision. He can also, or other people, not only pastors, other people, our neighbors, our friends, our family, our colleagues, they can share their experience. They can give us the information that we need for our analysis. But in the end, it's always up to us to analyze everything, to hear from different sources, to get as much information as possible from different reliable sources. and then to make a final decision. It's always up to us because it's our responsibility to make decision. The fact that my pastor is very experienced in the Bible and in theology, or he can be my mentor, doesn't make him a good advisor for all spheres of my life. If I need a financial advice, it's good to go to someone who has a financial experience. If I need a medical advice, I will go to a doctor, right? If I need an advice how to repair my car, I don't go to my pastor with that unless he's experienced in repairing cars. So if you have someone who you really trust, it can be your friend, it can be your mother or your colleague or your boss or your pastor or any other sort of a leader or a mentor, you have a temptation to ask all advices from the same person, but it doesn't work like that because that person is not able to have all the experience you need, like in everything, in all spheres, in medicines, in cars, in houses, in finances, in marriage, in like all other spheres. It's just not possible. So we should avoid this temptation and we should really be careful which people we ask for advice. These people need to have experience in this particular field. After careful consideration, I would like to add that, of course, I didn't mean that you cannot seek advice from your wife about everything. Your wife absolutely has all the necessary wisdom and knowledge, and if you need some advice, of course, go to your wife and ask about it. And she will be able to help you to make the right decision. So to summarize, if we want to improve the quality of our life, it's very important to take a responsibility for your life. You may ask advices from different people, you may seek information or experience from different reliable sources, but it's always up to us to make a final decision, and we are responsible for the decision, for the implementation of the decision, and for the outcomes. If we have this approach, if we are not afraid of this responsibility, it will significantly improve our life in the future because we will be moving forward all the time. We will not be waiting for someone else to make a decision and to change our life. We'll just be in charge. We'll take our responsibility and do the needful to change our life. Okay, that's it from me for today. I hope it was useful. See you soon in the next video.